I'm too different with it, too advanced to think. You know my intuition. I got bars and ink, but never in a prison. Too far gone, never gonna sit and listen. This is optimism mixed with the best. You get it? What you're seeing is a beast in the flesh. I'm vetted up. I don't need to try to speak for the.
Hey folks, MCU'S Bleeding Edge on the house Friday night, 8/23/24, to do a live stream review of the classic 2008 film, 2005 film, Batman Begins. On the guest panel this evening, Andrew, formerly known as Andrew from GNN, now just known as Andrew. What's up, Andrew?
How's it going?
Cyberneticshark, my co-host. What's up, Cyber?
Yo, yo, yo. Let's talk some
Yo.
Batman.
Andre's the pop culture guy. Hey, brother.
Hey everyone.
Hey, Drew.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Slow down, Sam.
What's up, Aston?
What it do? So,
Batman Begins, and we have more people coming on, so we'll have to wait for Wrath of Khan and Matthew from Down Under to stop by. But it's good to see you back on the Bleeding Edge, Andrew. And so 2005, Batman Begins. Just to start off, the film itself, in terms of its overall reception, I don't know it offhand. You have to give me 1 second. So basically, let's see. How did it do? Oh, okay. So Batman Begins ranked at the top. It's at the top of its opening weekend, accumulating 48 million, which is seen as strong but unimpressive by today's instantaneous blockbuster standards. The film's 5-day gross was 72.9 million, beating Batman Forever from 1995. And let's see. The film held its top spot for another weekend, accumulating 28 million and 43% drop from its first weekend, and went on to gross 205 million in North America and had a worldwide total of 371.8 million from its original release. So it made a little bit less than $400 million. Critical response: the Rotten Tomatoes approval rating is 85% based on 291 reviews. It gets a 7 out of 10 on its average rating, and it didn't get any nominated for any major awards other than it got an Academy Award for Best Cinematography nomination at the Academy Awards, which people I'm more than happy to discuss, but it really didn't do much other than that. They got an Art Directors Guild Award for Best Production Design. They got a BAFTA. They were nominated for some Saturn Awards. But this is considered the weakest of the Nolan trilogy films. So my first question is, starting off with you, Cyber. How many times have you seen the film? And then what was your take on your first watch? What was your first watch? And does the film stand up?
Let's see. I think I've seen this maybe a handful of times, maybe a dozen times altogether since it came out in 2005. I didn't see it till it was on Blu-ray in at least 2006. I didn't see it in theaters. This is my least favorite of the 3 Batman films that Nolan did. So, for me, it stands up. It's still good quality. It being almost 20 years old, it doesn't look too bad. And overall, I think that it's still a solid film. Just there's little tidbits that I just etch it down for me compared to the other 2 films. And so I think overall, though, like rewatching it again, it has a lot of great moments. I just feel like there's some stuff that they didn't need to really include. And I think overall it still holds up to this day. I think the quality still looks pretty good. The picture looks great in 4K, and even the sound and the music still is, I think still pretty good in par.
Okay, same question to you, Andrew, formerly known as Andrew from GNN. Andrew, same thing for you, sir. Same question. Your thoughts?
So I recently rewatched this probably about three months ago. I just for some reason now I had like an itch to go through all three of them again, and I've forgotten how many. There's like certain lines that I thought were in The Dark Knight or The Dark Knight Rises that were actually in Batman Begins. Like the whole it's not who I am underneath, but what I do. For some reason, I thought that was in one of the later movies, but actually, it first shows up here in Batman Begins. And so, yeah, I think the movie's aged pretty well. I think it helps that it's not too CGI heavy. It's very dark, very brooding. There's not like a lot of color saturation. There's not like a lot of bright, vivid colors that make it feel like out of place. Like it's like a noir style. Not like Sin City or anything, but like it's like a noir style film that it just holds up because it never really went out of fashion or really got dated. So I mean, I feel like I think some movies, like especially like the Batman, the Jack Nicholson one, you hear the music and it's like, oh yeah, this is old. This feels kind of stinky, right? This feels old, right? But with Batman Begins, because so much of it is just like that score. It's kind of like has like a timeless quality to it. It doesn't feel old to me, even though it is now almost 20 years old. It doesn't feel old. It feels like this could have came out within the last decade. So yeah, it still holds up. It's still fantastic.
Drew.
Yeah, well, I personally really love this movie. I think it's definitely my second favorite of the Nolan trilogy, just because Dark Knight is just that damn good. Absolutely. But I mean, if you caught me at the right day, I would almost like to say this comes really close, if not equaling it at some times. But just depending on my mood, that can change. I think definitely coming off of the heels of those Schumacher films. Well, I guess not coming off the heels because it was about 7 or 8 years later since Batman and Robin. But I think people were really just really embracing the idea of getting something a little more down to earth, a little less schlocky. You know, not that the Schumacher films can be fun, but this really sort of embraced. When I saw this in theater, it sort of felt like I was rewatching the animated series again, like the tone that was going for. Because I remember there was a few Ra's al Ghul, however you want to pronounce it, episodes back and then that sort of was similar to this. It went into Bruce's backstory, his origin story. Overall, I think it's one of the better origin stories for just the superhero genre, right up there with the original Iron Man. It sets things up nicely. It has a lovely theme of sort of fear and overcoming fear, which is I love me some good themes in a well constructed film, and it's just it's Nolan. He's an auteur. Everything just works well. The music works well together. The editing is perfect. It's a little more slow paced. But depending on what you're in the mood for, that can be a good or bad thing. But overall, I really love this movie.
Same question, Aston.
I didn't get to see this in the theaters when it came out. I was running around doing BS, getting kicked out of high school. I think I was on my second high school then. So I was really I remember being excited about it because now if y'all remember The Machinist, you remember when Bale got super skinny for that role? I think I had seen that like a couple of months before, and when I read it in some magazine that he was the guy, you know what I mean? Because there was no Bleeding Edge back in the day, guys. I'm aging myself right now, but yeah, I didn't see it in the movie theaters, but I remember when I started seeing the trailers and my homie like bootlegged it literally off campus and stuff. I was like, yo, I got to see this. First time I sat down, I watched it 3 times that weekend. It was something else. Like I was so pleasantly surprised because there was no hype. All of us remembered like Batman and Robin was a total fiasco. I thoroughly hated that flick, and I bugged my mom to pay money for me to go. So it was wow. It set up everything. Nolan had only done 3 movies at that time, had no idea who he was, but it was wow. And it's one of my biggest regrets not seeing that in the theaters when it came out, because I think all of them were shot in IMAX, right? So like I really missed an opportunity to actually see that on the biggest possible screen. The rest I saw in cinemas, but that first one, never going to forgive myself. Never.
Andre's pop culture guy.
Yeah. Oh man. This was my first Batman film in theaters, so this movie really holds a special place for my heart. And I mean, as the panelists had brought up before, This movie is just so great. I mean, this is the first Batman film that really dives into who Batman is as a character and like what makes him tick, what drives him. Like that was one of the things that was missing from, the Tim Burton and Joel Schumacher films. No offense on, Tim and Joe, I appreciate those films. I grew up watching them, but they were not Batman films. They were just flashy, sometimes villain centric films, So, I was so happy that we finally got a film that really focused on Batman and his psychology, who he is. And that was the special thing about this film. I agree with Cyber. It's not my favorite Batman film. I love, this is the best origin story. It's top tier, but there's a couple of things that is flawed in the film that we'll discuss later. But yeah, fantastic film. I mean, Nolan does a really good job of keeping themes like modern stuff away from his films that doesn't date stuff. Like the same Raimi Spider films kind of date themselves with those like licensed music. Like Nickelback and whatever. The Nolan films don't have this. And just ranking the Nolan Batman trilogy, this is second after Dark Knight, obviously. Overall great start film for a trilogy that's going to be successful.
Okay, thank you. So I just want to put it out there too that the budget on this was $150 million. So in retrospect, that's not I guess super substantial, but for 2005, that's a pretty big budget. All right, drinking game. The drinking words for tonight are, as you see right there, any combo of Bruce Wayne. You can separate it, whatever, Bruce Wayne, whatever you do, however you do it, you're drinking. Obviously, everybody has to participate in the drinking game. We encourage people to drink, but they can drink whatever they want, as long as it's, P. Diddy juice approved. Gotham, Arkham Asylum, Rachel, asshole. There you go. Those are our drinking words. So,
asshole.
Keep them in mind. All right. Okay. So,
asshole.
Asshole. The word asshole.
Drink.
I never said we were starting. Now we're starting. Anyways, so just come with random shit, man. What's up? So, all right. So the way our plot unfolds from Wikipedia. Our introduction is that in Gotham City, after falling down a well and getting swarmed by bats, a young BW develops a fear of them at the opera with his parents. Bruce becomes unsettled by performers masquerading as bats and asked to leave. Outside, mugger Joe Chill murders B's parents in front of him, young B. Not to be confused with Master B from Naruto Shippuden. That has the octopus. He's the jerky of the octopus god or whatever in Naruto. The rapper guy. Not to be confused with him. So, so Joe Chill murders Bruce. That's a drink. This young B's parents in front of him. Young B is raised by the family butler, Alfred Pennyworth. So, first thoughts, gentlemen, on the film, the intro, how they handle young B's loss of his parents. What's up, Rathacon?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, look, you're not Iceman this time. That's good. Good to see. So, you guys heard the intro. So I'll start off with you, Drew. What are your thoughts on the intro of the film, and then your thoughts on how they handled the origin story, say basically the flashback scenes and stuff like that?
So I think it's done pretty good. Nolan doesn't waste any time, and he uses this time because we want to get to the meat and potatoes of the story. We want to see. We want to get to the Batman stuff, but at the same time, we don't want to make it feel too rushed since this is an origin story. But all the stuff where he's just like a kid, it's done in a way where it feels like it's around for a while, but at the same time, it's like he only used probably about 5 or 6 minutes of screen time to do the whole bit where he falls down the well. We set up the fear, which obviously comes back thematically throughout the entire movie. The guilt of running of him kind of feeling like he's part of the reason why he got his parents killed. It's all done in a pretty nice way, I'd say, just from like a duration amount of time, like just the way it's just structured well. So are we just going chronologically? Because usually I think we're also going back and forth between the League of Shadows stuff in this, right?
Yeah, we do get the first introduction. They do within those initial flashbacks. There's also the introduction of him in prison, in his actual like more adult B state. B word of a name or whatever. That does occur, and you do see him first get encountered by Ra's al Ghul.
Right. It's one of my favorite sort of openings where he's just like in this prison in the middle of wherever, and he's just fighting like 5 or 6 guys on one. And then there's we open up with just a little bit of levity. There's a fun fight scene, but then he's getting dragged away, and he's like, "I don't need protection," and the guard's like, "Protection for them," and he points to the 5 guys on the ground. And then we get a lovely intro to Liam Neeson, who is such a great Roz. He's one of the few actors that I know could have pulled off that sort of gravitas for the villain of our story here, and sort of the mentor / villain. It's a really cool dynamic there. But as far as all the stuff where they're kids, it doesn't feel rushed, but at the same time, it's like they used the exact amount of time they probably should have without wasting too much.
Okay, sorry about that. I was getting fucked up by the private chat there for a minute. Andre's pop culture guy.
Yeah, sure. I mean, fantastic opening. I mean, first, we don't get like a proper credit sequence, sort of like the Superman movies. Like this is the first time we just jump into the film, which becomes now it's common, but like before it wasn't. This is before the MCU did it. This is the first time I saw a film that really just jumped in. It's like, here we go. We'll start right here. And I agree with what Knight said before. One of the coolest things about this movie and what he did for the origin story was to do the non-linear structure, like the Pulp Fiction or, Nolan's previous film, Memento, to like mix around the structure of the Batman origin story and just like, I mean, come on. Like, we all know what happened in Batman. It's like, okay, a mugger shoots his parents, bam, he wants revenge, wants to have justice, and then he becomes Batman. But we hear Nolan did a really good job of just like, here's the important moments, like here's why like Batman feels guilty about his parents' death, and and this is the first time I think that we use the bats as the thing for fear. Like that's the reason he chooses, because that was the thing he really feared about. That was such a cool concept and something that Nolan brought in that was so genius. And of course, and something I didn't bring up at the beginning was the gun rule thing, the non-kill rule thing that Batman, because that was another thing the previous films just failed to do. And here, Nolan did it so right with the flashback. So he did such a good job of chronically structured like what was important to know about Batman and like how he became before we get into the League of Shadows training. Did I say that right? League of Shadows, yeah. And speaking of the villains, this was my first time seeing Ra's al Ghul. He's a great Batman villain. If you're a big fan of Dennis O'Neil and Neil Adams, this was a great character from the 70s, and I was so happy they adapted him. I didn't see his episodes from Batman Animated Series, so this was the first time I properly saw this character. And Liam Neeson was a great actor to choose. He's fantastic. This was like a totally, I mean, I don't know, he played villain roles before, but like this is like first time he played a villain role before the Taken movies, like more action films. I think this was a great role, and this is the first time we had like the mentor villain role, because that's something the MCU does that so many times, but this one just works so much better. Like you take your time knowing who Ross is, or the card / Ross, But yeah, I really enjoyed the sequence. It's so like paced well, and it gives you the information so right.
Rathacon, the intro.
So, just wondering because I heard Andres talk about the shooting scene with the parents. So, is that where the cutoff period is?
Somewhat along those lines, yeah, like around after that.
Okay, so we can talk about where the parents got shot.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So a few things. After seeing the Joker and like even like other Batman shows and movies, what's really interesting is that, Batman Begins 2005. You see that it's just the Wayne family all together, just the three of them go outside an alleyway. And the thing I didn't like was like, um, why the hell would you go in the back alleyway when you know that place is dangerous? That's the thing that I like. How many years later you have the Joker film, and they just made that whole scene a lot better. So I will say that after watching Batman's Begins, like especially the intro in of itself, that's when I quickly realized that, oh, all of these Batman films later on, whether it's Joker or whatever, they're usually made to improve upon the areas where Christopher Nolan was weak at, or he didn't really strategize that well. And just to give background, so it was actually a risk in the beginning for Time Warner or Warner Bros, whoever made that film, to actually hire Christopher Nolan, because you got to understand that during this time, 2005, the Batman franchise was actually in a very odd position. The previous films, they all didn't do well, and then it's like you're trying to revive the Batman franchise, and you hire an indie film actor called Christopher Nolan, and it's a big risk because this guy, he's very different. He has a different take on everything, comes from a different background, never really directed superhero movies, and just from the beginning, you just see that this gamble that Warner Bros. Took just paid off handsomely. Like this film, just from the beginning, you could see that it's going to be very different from all these other superhero films. It's not like, focus on like the grander life that all these other superheroes. Hey, what's up, Pat? No, I had to pause and read your comment first before I continued. Okay, where was I? Yeah, these other films in the past, the superhero films, like even from the beginning, you see like they're very grand, lots of action, all this cool superhero technology, but this one's like more grounded, more grittier. You just see two kids playing. The kid falls into a well, and then you have a dude wakes up in prison in the middle of the Himalayas or something like that. Like it's very different, but they hook you on so well.
Can you
And
imagine
when you
if
see
both the
Liam
kids
Neeson,
found out of that hole and then they played doctor? They had like a play doctor scene in the movie.
wait, they didn't. Wait, what do you mean by play doctor? No, he woke up and he was in the prison cell.
I played doctor back in the day, bro. That shit was fucking.
You play doctor. Tell me about it.
That shit was salacious, bro. Back in the day.
Tell me, how do you play doctor?
When I was like
I thought you played CEO.
I was like 5-6 years old. That shit was salacious.
I thought you played CEO.
No, I don't know what CEO is, but
What are you talking about? You know what I'm talking about by CEO, right?
No.
But look, that's just all my points. Gamble take on Christopher Nolan. This film is still great, despite everything. The gamble paid off handsomely. Joker just made that whole scene with, all the parents getting killed in the back alleyway much more sense. So that's all I'll say. Like, great intro. Got me hooked.
Okay, Wrath. We appreciate you, Wrath. Andrew. Did I already go to you?
No, you didn't, but
I didn't think so. Do you have any thoughts, sir?
I mean, everybody kind of already said what there is to say about the beginning, the jumping back and forth between League of Shadows and the modern day of him going back. I love the scene. I don't know if no one's mentioned it, but I love the scene with when he gets busted by the cops and they're like, he's like, oh, it's like a victimless crime. He's like, tell that to the guy who owns the box or whatever, and like it's himself. So I love that part kind of thing where he he's completely just like inserted himself into like this culture that he's not from, into like this like not villain, that's a little extreme, but like this kind of criminal underworld kind of culture that he's no longer the person he was like when he first started. So I love that a little bit. That's all I got on that.
Cyber.
Okie dokie. So the beginning of the film, the back and forth with, showing kind of what Bruce has been up to.
Oh, that's a drink.
Drink. After his childhood experience falling down the well, we get, kind of that intro, which is, I feel is kind of, has been done quite a few times. We know that his parents were killed when he was a kid. We know this. They could have kind of like had it where he, I know this is supposed to be Batman Begins, like his beginning, but at the same time, they could have cut that out, I feel, and just gone to his training with Ra's al Ghul. And I think that Liam Neeson being picked as Ra's al Ghul was a great casting. I absolutely loved him in the film. I thought he was a great Ra's al Ghul. And I think that his height, his kind of how big he is as a dude too, as well, makes him a very imposing looking dude. So I think that works out well from what the comics showed. And so I think he was probably my favorite part of the beginning. Okay. And so it was just a, kind of just a very, I thought, soft beginning. It was, I didn't think it was like anything that spectacular, but I definitely, thought like when he was traveling and going to train with Ra's al Ghul and stuff like that was kind of fun and interesting. And I thought
we're not that far yet.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I'll stop there.
Okay. Aston.
Sorry for the delay. I was just trying to get back at you in the chats, man. Like, you guys are multitasking on some Ra's al Ghul shit. Like, you're following the chat and the cam and the conversation. Like, come on, man. It's like I'm on stream with my girls or something, man. They can like do all that. But yes, the intro. One thing I'm just gonna highlight, because everyone has said this is an epic movie, and the intro is what it is. We all love it. Yes, there you could pick apart some of the things like what Jassim said about what went down in Crime Alley, for sure, but that we could chalk that up to Nolan really not being a comic book fan, which he has admitted numerous times. So I think us nerds give him a pass because he really didn't grow up with the comics. So he probably didn't know how to translate that into film. But the one thing that I really liked in the intro, Rachel. Not because I had a crush on Katie Holmes like we all did way back in the day, okay? We all wanted to beat up James Van Der Beek and that other Joshua dude, like they were gone.
I never wanted to beat up James Van Der Beek, bro. I don't get down like that.
Dude, I wanted to beat him up, bro, because he sucked in Varsity Blues, bro. Like, I almost stopped playing ball because of him.
I thought you meant like beat it up like sexually.
No, bro, that's just you. That's a you thing. And about the comment, me smoking pipe, I don't smoke pipe, I lay pipe, and I stay rolling like I got 10 thumbs, son. So yes, it's all green out here, just like the screen. But yes, Rachel was amazing, because the one thing that always got me about the man in the cowl was that he just never got enough play for my taste. And casting like that really cute girl next door and her being from the jump involved in everything, I really thought it was a nice touch. I was skeptical the first time I saw it because I was like, hold up, where's this Rachel from? Where you from? Where you from? I don't know you. Like, you ain't. I don't remember a Rachel. I know he got down with Catwoman. I know he laid something down with Wonder Woman. I know he had a couple of these broads, but I don't remember no Rachel. So I loved her, like her introduction, and of course, Michael Caine, the great Michael Caine. Like, didn't see it like when they first announced it. I didn't see it, but those eyes, that face, like, let's not lie, bro. We all wanted him to be our home ec teacher and like workshop teacher, okay, instead of some assholes we got. So that's it from me. I loved Rachel and I loved Michael Caine in it, and of course, everything that you guys say stands.
Okay, so flash forward 14 years later, Chill testifies against mafia crime boss Carmine Falcone and is paroled. Young B intends to murder chill to avenge his parents, but one of Falcone's hitmen does so first. Bruce's childhood friend, Rachel Dawes, berates him for acting outside of the justice system. After confronting Falcone, who says real power comes from being feared, Bruce spends the next 7 years traveling the world, training in combat, and immersing himself in the criminal underworld. In a Bhutan prison, he's approached by Henry Ducard, who recruits him to the League of Shadows, led by Raja Ghul. The League believes Gotham... Oh, that's a drink too. Is beyond saving and intends to destroy it. After completing his training, young B rejects the League and its mandate that killing is necessary. He escapes, burning down the temple in the process. Raj is killed by falling debris, while Bruce saves the unconscious Ducard. I'll stop there. I'll go to you first, Andrew. Your thoughts on that, the rest of that first third of the film.
Well, I mean, it kind of passed a lot of it real quick, but I mean, I love the whole training montage, of course. It's one of the, outside of Rocky, one of my favorite training montages of all right there, where you have the inhaling the blue flower, and
You're filling in the gaps for me, man. That's why I left that space open.
and him and the whole it's like I forgot who it was. I don't know if it was Andres or who mentioned how Liam Neeson he's like the dark mentor here. Like for me, my introduction to Liam Neeson was in the Phantom Menace, where he's the good mentor there. Here he's kind of like a more like obviously like a shady kind of the ends justify the means kind of mentor, like Far Cry from like Qui-Gon Jinn. So I like the whole where he teaches B the lesson of mind your surroundings and all that, right? Like tapping the ice, and he's kind of just like he's basically talking about how like G-Town, as we're gonna call it from now on, is like a fester. It's like sick, right? It needs to be cleansed, right? Like every few hundred years. He's like we did Rome, we did all these places, the plague, like I love like kind of like the insert. I'm a big history buff, so that insertion of like history kind of thrown in there into like the oh yeah, like we've been in all these things, like that was us, like we were making those moves, that was us the whole time. So like I love the whole like that there's this organization that has to act outside the purview of the law to do what actually true. He calls it true justice, right? I believe he calls it true justice. Like it's not like by the legal means or whatever. Like you have to act outside of it, right? So like B, I almost said it there. B's kind of into this, right? Because all right, fair enough. He's kind of into this right now, right? Because he's up until this point he agrees with him, right? Because he just the whole Falcone thing and all that with his parents, like he's like he's going along with it, right? But like we like just him training, like I don't, correct me if I'm wrong. You guys probably know Batman better. Whatever, you guys know the titular character better than I do. Like, was there ever established outside of this film before that he has like the ninja training is like the core of his training?
Yes, ninjutsu
Okay.
in the comics. So yeah, that's his thing.
The animated series did that too.
Okay. I wasn't sure if I wasn't sure if he was just trained by boxers or brawlers or something. So I thought like he was self-taught or something. So, but yeah. So like that whole, I love all that with the flower, because that's going to come back into play later on, much later, the hallucinogenic and him doing he's picking up things. He's learning to mind his surroundings. He purposely cuts himself to kind of he cuts the other two guys to purposely like draw attention away from him when they're constantly shifting back and forth and like the little orchestrated choreography. Like I love this whole, and then of course the kind of red herring or the distraction with Ken Watanabe pretending to be the real, or pretending to be like Ra's al Ghul, and it's like a whole kind of like deception within deception kind of thing. And then I don't know if this is still part of it, Jeff. I don't know if we're still there, but the whole when he finally gets to the last trial and he has to execute this poor thief, and and that's the moment where he's like, okay, maybe this is he thought he was about it. He was a ninja until it was time to do ninja things. And then he is like, I don't know. And he's surrounded by everybody. He doesn't know what to do, right? He's like, I'm screwed right here, right? So he does
he threw the gun in the water, man. He rejected that steel.
Yeah, so he does the clever thing, right? Throws the tongs, the burnt like little thing sets off the fireworks, all that explosion. Like it's a great first third to kind of establish like what's going on with him before we actually get back to like the modern timeline with Gotham proper and him arriving by airplane and everything. So I don't remember what the question was, but it's a great first third. I'll just say that.
Well, I actually studied ninjutsu back in the day, and I'm talking about back, so far back in the day. This is back when they had the wooden pole that you would punch and kick and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like that shit was fucking hardcore, bro. Like, literally, you had to like kick the fucking wooden pole. It's like a part of your training every fucking day to like leave your first practice.
Like
kick the wooden pole.
Like the Shang-Chi thing where he just keeps punching the same thing.
Yeah, like that. The wood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it was just like a fucking pipe, like in the building that was like with wood all around it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you used to fucking like practice on. It was crazy. Ghetto, baby. Ghetto ninjutsu. You know how they get down back in the day. Back in the 90s, baby. What's up? All right. Cyberneticshark.
All right. So we're going up to what point again?
We're going up to the point where young B actually returns to the city that starts with a G and takes an interest into his family's company, yada yada yada.
Okay.
After he burns down Raja's joint.
Okay. So this section is when I feel the film gets really interesting. We get the introduction of Raja Ghul here officially. We get introduced to, of course, Mr. Falcone, played by the late great Tom Wilkinson, and of course, also at this point is when we are introduced to as Aston was talking about, Miss Rachel from Dawson's Creek, and Miss Katie Holmes. And I definitely feel at this range, that age range for Katie Holmes, she definitely was very attractive. She had been just in The Gift a few years prior, showed her knockers, and I remember thinking that she was pretty cute, and thinking that she wasn't too bad looking. I actually prefer Maggie Gyllenhaal. Actually, I find her more attractive. I don't know why, but I do.
Me too.
But I just found her characterization. I feel like her acting is the same in anything she's ever in. So I didn't think she was anything that great. I definitely think that, she filled the role for the extent of the film. But the action, the ninja-ing and stuff like that was really done well. I liked the training that, Mr. B did, and his, preparing to become, Batman himself. Is that a drinking word? Okay.
No.
All right, good. And so, that whole sequence and the burning down of the dojo is very interesting. And we think that Raja Ghul is dead. And I definitely remember thinking the first time I watched this, when I saw that, Liam Neeson supposedly died in that fire, I'm like, really? You bring in this Raja Ghul guy who is a really great character and he's dead already? I'm like, what the fuck? I was like very disappointed at it, because this was the first time watching it. And I was like, oh man, I really liked Liam Neeson. I'm like, I wanted to see more of him. So, to my chagrin, as we'll later talk about. But anyways, the whole little scene with Mr. B talking to Falcone in the little diner was really done well. Tom Wilkinson, he was great as Falcone. I liked the accent he did. Of course, he was a British actor, so him doing the mobster talk was like really fun, I thought, because it still had kind of a little bit of an English accent there as he's doing it. And their conversation was really funny because, at this time, we're learning that, B is on his journey to start his journey to, basically, become Batman. And I thought that scene was one of the more powerful scenes. I really enjoyed that one. But, basically leading up to, the whole courtroom scene and him like taking, coming back to, City G and kind of restarting his life again and taking interest in the company again. That was really fun too, because we knew as that was progressing, we'd be like, oh shit, he's becoming more and more Batman. We're going to see more Batman. Like, hell yeah. So I feel it really pushed along the story really well. I thought there was a lot of great action throughout the sequence and some good times. And I thought that this section was really entertaining and really brought me into the film.
Okay, Aston.
For definitely this was great coming right after the momentum that they had already set up initially. So going into it, I can't get over watching it again today because I wanted it to all be fresh in my mind before I went on stream. And that was a powerful scene with Chill, bro. Like, to me, that was just like, it takes me out every time, bro. Like I've been in court both sides. So it's like there's that to it, like Law and Order music playing in the background now, and me just watching this guy, and the actor's great. We've seen him in a lot of other stuff. I ain't got his name offhand, but we've seen him, and he's always the bad guy. Brake. Yeah. Thank you so much, Drew Ski. Drew, thank you for that. But yes, it was his face when they say Bruce is in attendance. Like the way he just froze up.
That's a drink.
That's a drink. I'll take it. I need one. But that scene was magic, and as it went down, and he still, shows her, and that's what I think Nolan did real well, because it goes down. He does nothing because you don't expect him to do nothing. You expect there's a speech moment. This is like, whatever. You took away my family. Nah, he just walks out. Dude gets clipped right there in the courthouse. He's in the car. Then he confesses, like he just snitches on himself, shows the pistol, and she slaps him. I'm like, wow. Then she slaps him again. The second slap I'm like, yo, that was real. It connected both times. I don't know what Christian did off camera. The second slap connects, bro. It connects. Like, trust me, I know how slaps connect. So it's like, yeah, it connected. And yeah, that was very moving for me. The Carmine shakedown also, he just pulls out the 45. Like, boom, yeah, this ain't G City from 1994, the animated series. I'm going to blow your brains out in front of a judge. And that's how it really be. There's no one talking in riddles, no one cracking jokes. And I hated how they were saying Falcone. It's Falcone, okay? It's Italian. You watch The Sopranos. You got that right. Get this right. Carmine, oh no.
Aren't you Croatian?
I am. They're our neighbors, bro. They took us over in World War II. So yeah, no love lost there. But I know how to pronounce their names. It's like, over here, they don't say Levi's jeans. They say Levi's. So it's like, I hate it on both sides, bro. Pronounce it right. Like, don't be appropriated.
Like Porsche.
Oh, you coming? Wallahi, you coming at me, bro? Who coming at me, man? That's cool.
You guys say Porsche? Really?
Okay,
You guys say Porsche?
Okay.
You say Porsche.
Wrap it up, Acid.
Okay. Yes, I loved Carmine. The portrayal was amazing, and him pulling out that gun. Those were the two takeaways from that whole segment. The fighting and everything was already brought up. I had to just mention Rachel and the slaps. Thanks, guys.
All right, Drew.
So yeah, this portion of the film is still just like a nice little build up part of the first act. VIP, I think, is going to be to cinematography and like the music, especially during all those scenes, like the sword fight on the ice and everything during the training. Still one of like some of the best dialogue exchanges when he's talking about how your parents' death was not your fault, and he slides down his sword and gets up close and he's like, it was your father's, really great, like just sort of stuff that's going to set us up for the third act and just build up to be like, okay, this is the Batman. This is how he's going to become the hero that we know is going to become. And what sort of a weird thing, we do set up his no kill policy, which is apparently very, very, very strict in these movies. It's a very strict no kill policy. But then as soon as they address it, he proceeds to just murder every ninja in that giant building. Or at least probably killed a few. I don't know. But like he literally blows up the building. And I'm like, wait, what? You're gonna spare this murderer guy, but you're just gonna blow everybody up that trained you? Okay. All right, whatever. Still though, we're at least setting up some sort of an ethics system for
that was a little bit sloppy, some of that shit, Drew.
Yeah, I agree. Storytelling wise, it's one of the weaker parts of this is where it's like the no kill rule only seems to work in the story's favor when it really wants to establish, but then it contradicts itself. It contradicts itself in The Dark Knight too a few times. But either way, the movie just does look brilliant. Nolan is, like I said, is an auteur. It all looks great. I remember seeing this in the theater and all those uh, like. All those segments in the cold and stuff. I felt cold in the theater while watching it. It just sort of had that effect on me. Once we get into him returning to that Gothic city, it sort of just starts setting the tone. We get the flashback, of course, where he goes against Falcone, and the great Tom Wilkinson, just always a wonderful character actor. He's great in nearly everything I've seen him in personally, as well as Katie Holmes. I think she plays a wonderful female contrast lead to Bruce, sort of there to there to sort of really drive home his arc about choosing justice over vengeance, which is super important. Let's see, is there anything else I'd like to add? The Aston, the slap scene. I've always loved that scene because it's clear when he's sort of opening himself up and making himself vulnerable to Rachel in that scene, and he doesn't even try to defend himself against both slaps. I think that's just such a great little moment that they added, that he doesn't even try to, he just accepts it. And I like little things like that in filmmaking. Where that makes sense from the character, what the film is trying to tell us. So yeah, little character moments like that. And the fact that Joe Chill doesn't turn away in the courtroom, that's another great little character moment, by the Night King there.
Good call.
He's also in a lot of Rob Zombie horror movies too, more recent ones. But yeah, all in all, I'm still with the film pretty strongly, despite some of the weird contradictions with the no kill policy.
Wrath of Khan.
I was about to talk about that irony with the whole explosion with the temple and the guy not wanting to kill people, but the Knights of Nostalgia just said it best. All I have to talk about, or I can talk about, is how, how typically a lot of these Batman movies, you have Rachel as like the love interest of Batman, but it seems like here, Rachel's just like a best friend. You don't sense any romanticism or sexual interest or whatever. Like, they're just like best friends. So that's why, when you watch The Dark Knight, then it's like, are you kidding me? They just went from like being best friends to he's saying like, "Oh, Rachel, I want you so much." Like, that's just the only critique I have about this. I think others could shine light on it or not. That's all I have to say.
I'm just a pop culture guy.
Yeah. To be fair though, Christopher Nolan, he has his weak spot is always the female characters, and especially romance. That's always something that's gonna be, hit and miss in certain films.
Like in Oppenheimer.
Yeah. Yeah, and Katie Holmes as Rachel. I'm very indifferent. I don't know why. I think, well, first off, I don't like that they recast her in The Dark Knight, and I do agree with Cyber Jeff that Megan G. Hall is a great actress. You haven't seen her films like The Secretary or her other films. I tried to think what other films she's in, but she's a fantastic actress. I didn't know she was the sister for Jake Gyllenhaal. So I was like, oh, it was a long time ago. I was like, oh, I think it was like Spider-Man Far From Home. I just put two together. I was like, oh, anyway, it's a funny story. I was like, oh, I didn't know that. So that was funny. Yeah, I was very indifferent, but I did now talking about it. That's the weak part about Batman Begins, is that whole relationship with Rachel and Bruce, as Raph brought up before. Because first off, I've seen shows and movies where you fall in love with a friend and you become lovers. that works. Like if you've seen like Kim Possible, like Kim and Ron get together, and that worked because it made sense. You know, they were building to that. Or like Power Rangers, you know, with Tommy and Kim, or you know, or like Pepper in Iron Man, like Pepper and Tony. You know, they you know, it's work relationship, but then they started to become a little more like intimate later in the sequels or in the MCU, so it can work. It's just like just the writing just is very weak between these two characters, and it's frustrating because I really like Rachel because she could have been like a great connection to Two-Face. If you think about it, it's really cool to have a district attorney be a love interest for Batman. If you think about it, you know, and you know, her being, you know, connected to a major character in the Batman Rose Gallery. If you know, Two-Face, he's a DA. So, but it just didn't work out that way, and unfortunately, I like Katie Holmes, but I feel like she's the weak link for the cast here. Batman Begins. The training of Batman here is fantastic. I mean, one of the things, like, you cannot show like Batman's training. Like in the comic books, he is always trained specifically on these like techniques and skills that he wants to learn to be efficient. Night's Drop, the animation show, they show you like his training of either Jujutsu or like what is it, Escapee? Like there was an episode with Satana where he was trained by Satana's father, and like how he got out of chains, like
I forgot Rachel. I said that's a drinking word. That's 2 drinks. You said it a minute ago, and I just said it. That's twice. That's 2 drinks.
Oh shit! Really, Rachel was a drink?
You just said it again. Come on, dude.
Well, how about this? F you, Katie Holmes. This is your fault. Anyway,
Hey, drink.
F
You guys-
you, Raph.
Do you guys know why she didn't return in the Dark Knight?
Because the girl is prettier.
She had her period.
No, she took on a different role. She took on a role. I don't know if you guys ever saw Mad Money with Queen Latifah and
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
it sucked.
Yeah.
No.
She was doing that movie, so she couldn't return for Dark Knight, so that's why they had to recast her.
Good, that's karma for her.
Wow. Yo, Andrew, thank you for sharing that with me, bro, because I was wondering what went wrong with this broad, and that's what went wrong. That's what went wrong.
Hey, I mean, look. I'm not seeing Mad Money, but look, you got Grant Tafia and Diane Keaton, another great actress. So I mean, it kind of makes sense, but
You say Tofia, like Tofia on TikTok?
no, Queen Latifah. I'm sorry, Miss Latifah. I should spray myself with fear toxin. I'm so sorry, guys. I
Do it right now on this live stream.
Laquifa, man. Laquifa,
Yes.
man. Whatever, man. She
I
whack,
know,
man.
Austin. I'm sorry, sir.
Who's off?
Anyway, right there, you doofus.
Ashton.
Aston, yes.
Aston Martin.
I'm sorry, Aston. I am so sorry. I
It's all love. I got love. You know I love you, Andre. Come on,
Wrap
man.
up your contribution, sir, so we can move on this weird review.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, F boy. So anyway, yeah, training was good. Now, knowing the twist, like it was funny to not see, I was real cyber that I was kind of shocked they killed off Ra's al Ghul, but then of course not when we get into the ending. So, but overall, great sequence. It's action packed. I love the training. You get really cool moments. I like the story where Ra's talks about his wife. That's going to be very important. Just overall, I like another thing besides fear, the Bruce finding a father figure. Like the theme of father is in this movie. You got Bruce, Thomas Wayne. You got Afrin, who is technically his like father figure he should be looking at, and then you got Rish, who's like this like really bad father figure that Rish should not go. And
The W word is a drinking word. That's another drink, sir. You're racking them up.
I'm sorry, I should have phrased my fear talks now. That's all I had to say. Good night, everyone.
Andres, I did not see you drink a single time. The rest of us are drinking.
What?
Jesus,
F you,
man.
Raph. You're becoming more like Jeff, sir.
Oh man,
Jeff doesn't even enforce the drinking.
I forget some stuff sometimes. What do you want me to do? Anyway,
Yeah.
intent on fighting crime, young B returns to the city that starts with a G and takes an interest in his family's company, W Enterprises, which is being taken public by businessman William Earl. Company archivist Lucius Fox, a friend of young B's father, allows him access to prototype defense technologies, including a protective bodysuit and the tumbler, not associated with Tumblr, an armored vehicle. Bruce poses publicly as a shallow playboy while setting up that's a drink. While setting up a base in the caves beneath Wayne Manor, and taking up the vigilante identity of Batman, inspired by his childhood fear, which he has now conquered. Intercepting a drug shipment, Batman provides the R Girl, now a Gotham. Oh, that's a drink. Assistant District Attorney with evidence against Falcone and enlists Sergeant James Gordon, one of Gotham's. Oh, that's a drink. Few honest police officers to arrest him. In prison, Falcone meets Dr. Jonathan Crane, a corrupt psychologist who smuggled drugs into the G-spelled city with his help. Donning a scarecrow mask, Crane sprays Falcone with a fear-inducing hallucinogen, driving him insane and transferring him to AA facility. While investigating Crane, Batman is ambushed by him and sprayed with hallucinogen. Batman barely escapes and is saved by Alfred and Fox, who develop an antidote for the hallucinogen. So I'll stop there. I'll start off with you, Rathacon. Your thoughts on the next session, sir?
Woo! Andrew, I appreciate all the enthusiasm, man. So thank you, dude. Okay. Wait, Jeff, are we also including the part where we actually see the Scarecrow without his mask in the prison?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, firstly, this just adds to like all the amazing characters, all the amazing actors that you see all in this single film. Like, you know, we see the not Christopher Nolan, we see the whoever plays Batman, and then you have the guy who plays Liam Neeson, and then now you have this guy, Cillian Murphy, okay, as the Scarecrow. Like, just that whole scene, and just learning more about Scarecrow, in my mind, I was like, dude, this guy should have been the main antagonist because he's just so cool. You know, we get a good early glimpse of how great Cillian Murphy is as an actor, and it's just great. Like, just everything, you know, even like all the hallucination stuff that the Scarecrow is making Batman experience, like, well done on that part with all the visual effects. You know, I just have to say that it's just, I'm just speechless at how they did the whole thing, the whole drug bust, you know, and, you know, setting up like, you know, people understand how deep the corruption is in G-Town. Yeah. I came here, I didn't organize my thoughts, so I just laid a bunch of seeds for all you guys to just pick up the pieces and turn them into flowers.
Dropping seeds. Okay, baby. That's how you gotta do it. All right. Andre's the pop culture guy.
Sure. Yeah, this is the part where, like, yes, finally we're gonna get into the Batman stuff. Very cool. Like, when we got, well, first off, it was great to see Lucius Fox be part of the Batman supporting cast, finally. Playing by the wonderful actor Morgan Freeman. If you haven't seen, you know, the cartoon show, you know, he was there. And it was really cool with Christopher Nolan. This is where I really appreciate the change from comics to movies. I really appreciate that. How can we explain how Batman get his gadgets? Because that was another issue that people have a problem with. And here it was like, oh, he just had a person that was a, you know, he's basically Q from James Bond to give him these, you know, like these gadgets. And that was Lucius Fox. And he did that. And now that's become part of Lucius Fox, you know, background, you know, in the comics and in the TV shows, like the Batman, the cartoon show. When I was growing up, like they brought in Lucius Fox, and he was the same character from Batman Begins, and it was like, oh man, that was really cool. So like it affected it so well because it's just really well done, and it was great to see like the belt, you know, and like the costume. I was like, oh god, this is so cool. And then of course, thank you, Jeff, for bringing up the Tumblr, because I never, like, it's so funny that the Batmobile is called a Tumblr, and it's like, are we talking about the Tumblr or or like the say it is like it's so funny. Such a weird way to call the Batmobile. So I thought that aspect was really good. Come on. James Gordon, played by Gary Oldman, was really great. The best casting for any superhero film. And he just looks like if you look at his face, he looks like Commissioner Gordon from Batman Year One. And like that's just crazy. Like in some panels. And I thought his performance was really great. Overall, really enjoyed this sequence. Seeing Batman like when he takes out Falcone and he says the famous "I am Batman." It's second iconic thing after the '89 film from Keaton, and so I really enjoyed this sequence. It just gives you what you really want as a Batman fan.
Aston.
For me, I loved Nice Coat. Y'all remember that scene? Y'all know hey, Croatian. I gotta represent. Gotta represent, bro. He ain't Russian, but he plays Russian. He's been taking Russian money for years. Poor Russian actors. But anyway, yes, I had that in my notes, man. Rade Sherbedžija, man. Saw him in Dubrovnik. But yeah, I loved Cillian Murphy being cast as Scarecrow. Like
Killian?
Killian. Yeah.
That's not how you say it.
How do you say it?
Oh my
Killian.
God, Raph, leave him
I worked
alone.
with 5 Irish guys in Sweden who called him Killian.
You just help the guy out by fixing the pronunciation. You don't spell it like that.
Yeah, Raph. Come on.
No, bro. Like people have Irish people, and he's Irish, have told me his name is Cillian Murphy.
It's not.
Yeah.
What is it, bro? Jillian?
It's silly.
Girl's name?
No, Aston is right. If you look it up on Wikipedia,
Yeah. Eat my nuts now, Jeff.
Phonetically,
I shaved them last night.
Phonetically, you know how they split up the name? It's Kill, like Kill, then dash E
Like
E
Killarney.
dash En. Killian. Yeah, he's right.
Okay.
Yeah. don't be bashing the Slav, okay? I'm all about funky names.
Hey, you know what? Apparently you're right, sir.
Thank you. So yes, back to wrapping this up because I got my little sand timer mentally going. So the foreshadowing with Cillian Murphy's character was awesome. You would never picture Scarecrow to actually be a good-looking dude. Let's not lie. Off the comics, off everything else, the guy looks like Stanley Ipkiss, like worse, like paired in with some Urkel, with a little bit of the monster from the basement. But yes, I think he really sold it well, and he was just coming off heat with that movie Red Eye, where he also played a villain. So it kind of I feel synergized it. And of course the chicks loved it, man. My girl watched the movie twice just because of his character. I'm like, he's the bad guy. You get that? She's like, I don't care. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, I really walked away with, as it built up and you see him taking these guys out at the yards and stuff. But the one part that kind of broke immersion for me, at least, was when he was like, the guy just turned and went, after he just let loose with the Heckler Koch MP5. He was like shooting and looking around. He's all tight swole. And then he just turns around and goes, his face was real bad. Maybe because I freeze the frame or something a few times, but I didn't like that scene. Outside than that, the best fight choreographies we've seen, the tumbler, that's a given, pulling him out the limo. But we got to talk about the bat light. It's all about the bat light with me. Just literally putting that dude like spread eagle. I was like, yes. As for Gordon, nothing in this part of the movie sold him for me, but the intro, when he was looking at Bruce, just looking at him, held him by the shoulders and said, it's okay. I'll drink, bro. I got a 6-pack in the fridge. Who you threatening with a good time?
Wrap it up, sir.
Okay. So yeah, Commissioner did great, and I don't get why people talking shit about his accent. Punching out.
Andrew.
Jeff.
I'm going to you, sir.
Oh, okay. They're just doing a roll call or something. All right. Going back to Andres, I love when he mentioned, I like how all the gadgets he have actual applications outside of just being for Batman. you had like this R&D department that like they kind of just shuffle Lucius out of the way to kind of like, yeah, let's just put him R&D and just keep him away from like, you know, all the big players at the table with the board members and stuff. And I love how like the reason that everything has a reason, right? We have the cape and with the electrical current that makes it go to these shapes that have military applications. The tumbler being designed to like jump over like destroy like bridges or roads or whatever. Like it has a purpose for being there. The scene where they're ordering his mask, I think, right? Ordering the mask, where like I forgot if it was the mask or like the armor. And they're like, if we get just one, it's gonna be suspicious. So we need to place like a massive order for like 10,000. He's like, I like how he's slowly kind of bringing Fox into his world. Like he's like, I need it for spelunking. He's like spelunking, like he's like you don't have to tell me the truth. Like the less I know, the less like I can't lie when they eventually come for me and ask like, oh, you know, what's going on and stuff. Like the less I know, like I like how Fox is kind of like he knows better than to like ask too much details. And like, of course, the iconic line, does it come in black? Right, and all of that. Just I love the slow integration. Like Andre says, like it's all grounded. It's very grounded. It makes sense for him to have these things, the utility belt, the different like oh shit, is it this one or the Dark Knight where he talks about being able to turn his head? I forgot because I love how that's like
Dark Knight. Knight.
Okay, we'll get to that later. Then not here then. But I love just how everything is. It makes sense, right? And I was talking about earlier how like the music, there's no like pop songs. There's nothing that dates this movie exactly, right? It's all just kind of, there's a timeless feel and quality to it. And I kind of just the integration of like, here's this tech, all this stuff that like I could see one day being a real thing if it's not already. Like it's just so good. It's just so good. But like Ashton was saying, like I love how he just hits it on the searchlight. It's like, okay, bam, that's the reason why we have the bat signal now. Like everything gets added little by little, and like you would think like these are very fantastic elements in like a comic book story, but here's like it's like when you demystify mythology and you add like a scientific kind of reasoning for something. So I love how this movie just kind of like yep, that's how that happens, and like, you know, that's how we're going to integrate this thing that normally wouldn't make sense. Why would the police have a signal just for Batman? Like it's kind of silly, right? But I like how now it's like that's the thing, right? It makes sense. It's a like a warning, right? It's a warning. So of course the cops are going to, you know, use that to scare people and like that. So yeah, that's my bit on it, Jeff.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Cyber.
Remind me what we're talking about because there's so many people I can't keep up.
Yes, sir. We're talking about the what happens after the burning of the temple with Raja Ghul when young B comes back to the city name starts with a G and initially becomes Batman and takes down Falcone and all that, you know, and we get the introduction of I can't pronounce it. The double A, you know, the house and Scarecrow and all that.
Okay. I mean, this section of the film, you know, this is where it really starts to get good, even better. It gets really action packed. We get the, you know, development of Batman himself. We get the costume design. We get to see him come up with all this cool gadgets and all this kind of cool stuff. We get the introduction of Scarecrow in this section as well, which was really awesome. It was great to see the Scarecrow for the first time in live action form. I think Cillian Murphy is perfect as the Scarecrow. I loved him as the character. I think he did a great job of bringing the character to life from the comics. And, you know, the visual effects with his powers were done really well as well. If you ever played any of the games themselves, he is one of my favorite characters that you have to battle in those games because he's just so imaginative because of what his toxic gas does. And so, I mean, we get a really good idea of who and what he's capable of right off the get-go here, especially with, you know, his introduction at the Nut House. And, you know, we get that great introduction and we just got a lot of great action throughout the sequence. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it had a lot of great moments. I thought that leading up to, basically the kind of the, him officially becoming Batman type of deal, all that stuff was really funny. Like Andrew mentioned, does it come in black? That was a super funny line. There's a lot of great one-liners throughout this film too, as well, especially in the sequence when he's becoming Batman. He had a lot of great ones, and Christian Bale. As some people have mentioned earlier, how he went from playing the machinist to having to bulk up for Batman. That was a lot on his body, and it actually screwed his body up pretty bad because he went from eating a tuna can to having to eat like 5,000, 6,000 calories a day to bulk up to become Batman. I think it's a really great feat that he went from that scrawny looking motherfucker to this big ass motherfucker in this, and he looked amazing. And thankfully he did it so young. He was only, when he filmed this, he was just 30. So, still young enough to not damage the body too bad, but still some side effects. But I have to give it down. This sequence, I think, is a really great sequence of showing how good Christian Bale is as an actor. If you hadn't seen him in anything else, and this was like your first outing with seeing him in something, I think it gave a really good detail in this sequence, just how great he is, how he can be a little comical, how he can be serious, how he can do the dramatics. I thought his acting was really done well in this sequence. Very, very great section. Really enjoyed it.
Drew, wrap us up.
All right. So yeah, this is a good bulk of the second act of the movie. First off, I just want to state, we got Christian Bale, we've got Morgan Freeman, we got Gary Oldman, we've got Cillian Murphy, and right above all that, Rutger fucking Hauer, right? Like the VIP of the movie as the corporate evil man. No, seriously though. He was the hobo with the shotgun. That's why I love him. But and the original Hitcher. But so we get our first cool fight scene here, and this is sort of a nitpick on my part, but I really am not a fan of the really hardcore quick edits that happen at the docks during that fight scene where he just beats up everybody. It's a small nitpick. It doesn't ruin the movie for me, but like I remember seeing that fight scene for the first time, being like, I really couldn't gauge what was happening at all. I mean, it ends with Batman winning and beating everybody, but at the same time, I was sort of I felt like I was robbed by a fun action sequence because I couldn't really articulate what was going on there. As stated, it's really awesome seeing like the very first the floodlight with with Falcone up there creating like the bat sigil on the sky. I don't think anybody brought this up. The first scene where Batman and Gordon talk, not when he's a kid, but when he approaches him in the precinct and he like sort of holds him up with a stapler.
Yes.
Really, really great dialogue there where he's just inquiring, how do we bring down Falcone? What needs to happen for this to get going? And he talks about how certain judges need like leverages on him. He needs certain things need to happen. And he's like, all right, and then he leaves and he's like, wait, you're just one guy? What and he's like, now we're two. And it's like, oh, that was really good.
The power of one, the power of two.
Oh, fuck. Don't bring that up.
Don't bring that.
Don't do
that.
Jeff. Don't do it, Jeff.
Don't do it. But yeah, and then I like the little chase scene right afterwards, and it just shows that Batman's still sort of refining his skills. He jumps over, he jumps off of a building, and it's not the most graceful of landings, but he still gets away. But that's it's point A, point leads to point B, point B leads to point C. He goes to Fox. Hey, I need this to get better so I can do my spelunking better. You got anything for me? I just love I love how the fact that Lucius is sort of like the Q branch of this series. It really works well for me. Is Cillian Murphy's first Scarecrow appearance. I quote this all the time with my friends. I don't know why I quote this all the time, but I just love that line. Do you want to see my mask? Because mainly because it's such a bizarre line from because I'm thinking like from Falcone's like point of view, that would be a weird fucking thing to hear from him at that point. Like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? And the actor really sells that. What the fuck look like after he says that. But yeah, we get to see the Scarecrow gas in a full effect, and it's pretty horrifying. It literally puts you into like a horror coma or whatever you want to call it. And we sort of set the tone and sort of we're heading towards Batman starts getting clues about what Cillian Murphy's up to, and notices that the effect after he gets poisoned himself reflects on the fact that it's like almost the exact same as it was when he was in the League of Shadows, and they dosed him to overcome his fear. And I think that's where we left off, right?
Yep.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to drop a trailer so everybody can take a break, and then we're going to wrap up the final third of the film.
Yeah.
Tell us, Mr. Wayne. What do you fear?
How do you know my name?
The world is too small for someone like Bruce Wayne to disappear.
Your parents' death was not your fault.
My parents deserve justice.
I cannot let that pass.
If you make yourself more than just a man, then you become something else entirely.
Which is?
A legend, Mr. Wayne.
Marshal Wayne, are you coming back for long, sir? As long as it takes to show the people of Gotham their city doesn't belong to the criminals and the corrupt.
Bruce?
Rachel?
You were gone a long time.
I know.
Things are worse than ever down here. What chance does Gotham have when the good people do nothing?
Don't make survival suit for advanced infantry. Kevlar utility harness, gas-powered magnetic grapple gun.
What's that?
Well, the tumbler? Oh, you wouldn't be interested in that.
I spent a lot of time being scared for you. I heard you were back. But the man I loved, the man who vanished, never came back.
He's here. Who? The Batman.
Gotham must be destroyed.
Gotham isn't beyond saving.
It's over! Guy dresses up like a bat clearly has issues.
Wonderful trailer.
Yeah, it was really
Fire.
good.
It was fire. But I feel it was that era where they put too much good stuff in the trailer, though. Because I didn't see any trailers for this in ages. And I feel this is when that stuff started, because I could literally say two things that were like fire that they shouldn't have put in the trailer, just because it would have taken me out of it watching it in the theaters. But that's just me.
Okay. Well, all right, back to the film. So, when Mrs. M accuses Crane of corruption, he reveals he has introduced his drug into the city with starts with the G's water supply and drugs her with hallucinogen. Batman later subdues Crane and sprays him with his own chemical. While being interrogated, Crane claims to work for Ra's al Ghul. Batman evades the police to get girl whose name spells with R's to safety and administers the antidote. He gives her 2 vials, one for Gordon and the other for mass production. At Young B's birthday party, Ducard reappears and reveals himself to be the true Ra's al Ghul. Having stolen a powerful microwave emitter from W Enterprises, he plans to vaporize capital G City's water supply, rendering Crane's drug airborne and causing mass hysteria that will destroy the city. He sets W Manor aflame and leaves young B to die, but Alfred rescues him. Raja loads the emitter onto capital G City's, whose name spells with G's, monorail train to release the drug at the city's central water source. Batman rescues girl whose name spells with R from a drugged mob and reveals his identity to her. He confronts Ra's al Ghul on the train as Gordon uses the tumbler as cannons to destroy a section of the track. Batman escapes the train and leaves Raja to die as it crashes. Go to you first, Drew. What's up, baby?
All right.
Power of 1, baby. Let's do it.
Power of 1. Let's do it. The third act. I do love it. I love the whole Ra's al Ghul coming back, the big reveal. I guess it's not officially confirmed whether or not this is how it works, but I always surmised that the Ra's al Ghul was actually just a title for whoever was leading the Society of Shadows or League of Shadows, and not actually a specific person's name. I don't know if that's really confirmed one way or another, or if it was just Liam Neeson was Ra's al Ghul that's in him to begin with. I always assumed that just meant like, you know, there was a ruse, but the League of Shadows has always had a Ra's al Ghul, but the movie I don't think says it one way or another. I really enjoy the like sort of reveal of what the big bad plan is by the end, but it does create some dare I say plot holes, some pretty nasty plot holes, and this is where I think the movie gets knocked down a couple points because the what is it, the water vaporizer thing that was stolen by Wayne Enterprise earlier in the movie is what's being used by the League of Shadows to essentially disrupt all water veins in the city, starting at the Narrows and going towards like City Hall or whatever. And they're going to use the train system built by the Waynes as a means to transporting it and just blowing up everything in sight. They established that they were putting in the Scarecrow's chemical into the water supply very early, and it's been going on for some time, and that it's already been there. And they go, "Why haven't we been feeling the effects?" And it's like, "Oh, because you have to inhale it." Got you. This is where it's like, wait a minute. Nobody's taken a hot shower in the last however many days. Nobody made hot tea, coffee. Nobody had any sort of steam inhale. You know, this is a problem with the movie. I still love it. It doesn't ruin it for me, but it is one of those like, man, that's hard to look by because the movie does not make sense because of it. It's almost like in 28 Days Later, where it's like, why are the infected not dying of dehydration? I don't know, but whatever. Sorry, another Cillian Murphy movie. But as far as like the action and the action and the pacing for a third act of a film is all very well structured. It's well edited. Like all those pieces are in place that it just makes for very entertaining, and it's just a solid film in general. So I really can just look past that one big bad plot point with that. I don't know. I'm sure it could use an easy fix if they really needed to, but that was really my only flaw with the ending of the movie. I like the whole confrontation with Roz. They bring up the whole learning to mind your surroundings that he throws in his face at the very last minute. I'm still on the fence on how I feel about how he's like, I don't need to save you, but I'm not going to kill you, but I don't need to save you, and just jumps off the train. I'm like, oh. So it's almost like he's writing in his own loopholes for his own personal rule, which is sort of strange. But you know, it's once again, it's like fine, whatever. The third act is really good in the sense that right after the Ra's al Ghul reveals himself, burns Wayne Manor to the ground, and then we have that whole fight scene where on the Narrows everything is going crazy. Miss Dawes and little Joffrey Baratheon are running around from the running away from the crazies, and Scarecrow shows up as like one of the four horsemen, and he's breathing fire from his steed. It's pretty wild. That's all great visual stuff. And of course the city destroying itself through fear is just the final nail home with the main theme of the movie itself, and just can the city overcome its own, you know, its own problems. All in all, I do really love the third act of the film despite its flaws. But yeah, I think that's all I've got to say about it.
Cyber.
All right. So we're talking about the complete final act, the last third of the film?
No, I'm saving the final part of the film. We're
okay, up to where?
Up to the point where Ra's al Ghul dies in the train.
Okay. So this sequence, I feel, slows down a little bit. You get definitely some action in this sequence. You know, especially the sequence on the train when, you know, Ra's al Ghul finally does actually die. I remember him popping back up, re-showing himself that he hadn't died in the fire at the dojos, as I like to call them. You know, and that I was like ecstatic as hell the first time watching this, going, "Oh my God, he's not dead!" And I just remember thinking, "Yeah, it's more Liam Neeson." And I just remember thinking, like, "Oh, I wonder where this is gonna go. Are they gonna keep him around longer? Are they actually gonna have him die? Like, what's gonna go on here?" And I just remember, you know, watching through it, going, "Don't let him die! Don't let him die! Don't let him die! Let's keep him! Let's keep him! We want to see him again in another future film." And then they kill him, and I was like, "Ah, God damn it!" I was like, "Too bad." I'm like, that's such a great character that can come back several times and you know, and can be reused and stuff, because just Ra's al Ghul is such a great character in the comics. And I mean, he's had so many different iterations and ways and things like that. I mean, his daughter coming in and becoming kind of the head of the, you know, the group syndicate and stuff like that. And I mean, there's just so many cool things about his whole like gang and everything. So I thought that was a great character to kind of start off this trilogy with, having him as the kind of the main bad guy, along with kind of having a secondary Scarecrow as the kind of the secondary bad guy. I just thought this section of the film was decent. I enjoyed it, and I think overall it was a really great portion to lead up to the grand finale.
Andrew.
I mean, most of you guys already kind of said the major things. I'm just thinking of going back to like those quotable lines, those one-liners. The "Why do we fall?" Right? I love that one. Why do we fall? Right? To get back up again, right, Mr. Wayne, or how I can't do a good Michael Caine impression, but
that's a Drake.
Oh, that is. You're right. So the W word. You're right. I never thought about the little loophole that Drew mentioned about the like people not using tea or steam bath. Like that never occurred to me, but like yeah, that kind of makes sense that would be a major. I would just assume that it would be so infrequent that people would just chalk it up to as like there's not like really a pattern, or maybe there's just random people going crazy. I don't know. There's people always joke about there being something in the water, but in this case, there really is something in the water. So, but yeah, that whole final act, just with them going in the streets. I love when Crane gets tased by her and he just disappears into the night, just like you just see the little bits of like static as he's just laying back in the horse. The horse just goes off on its own. The whole thing with Gordon now having to use the tumbler and like going to laying down and having to talking about like how is that the part where he says like I gotta get me one of those, or maybe I think of a different movie.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, it's that part. Okay, where he goes in there, he has to like basically destroy like the support beams for the monorail and all that to disconnect it. It's a great third act. I don't have that much to say. I love the kind of the what do you call it? The little, that's not a gag, but when the lady at the party goes up to Mr. B or Mr. W and he's like, and she's like, oh, what is it again? Raish, and then he turns around and like, oh, that's not him. That's just some bald dude. And then like, no, like he's like, Liam Neeson's just like off to the side right there. I love that whole kind of like a misdirection kind of thing going on. How he has to like this thing that kind of goes on with it goes out throughout the entire movie where B has to kind of play aloof and kind of play like the dumb or like the dumbass kind of rich guy to protect the people around him, where at the party he has to he wants to get the people out safely without drawing attention that there's these people trying to kill, go after him right there in the party. And so what he does is like he kind of plays it up and he does the whole like, oh, like you guys are only here for like my money and my drinks or whatever, like you guys are never real friends, just leave. And like he's not being a jerk to be a jerk, right? He's being a jerk because he knows that's what's going to save him, right? That's what's not going to cause a massive scene where like killing's going to start happening, right? He wants to be alone so that only he has to deal with the repercussions, right? Kind of like earlier in the movie where he's like he buys a hotel and then I don't know if we can say her name or not, but she says like, oh, like you like you've changed or whatever, and like he's kind of being the jerk again to spare other people from what he's doing, right? So that's the kind of thing. I mean, fear is a big component of this film, but also just him having to be socially at arm's length because he knows that things can happen to the people around him if he's not careful, right? So that's another thing that I wasn't sure if anyone mentioned in this, how he dismisses everybody, and then Raj is kind of like, oh yeah, like that was cute, like, but like that's it's not going to change anything in the end because we're still going to destroy all of it. So, but yeah, Jeff, that's what I got.
Okay, sir. Aston.
For me, it had to be when I don't know if I can say his name, but Jeeves, when he decides to save Richie Rich from making a total fool of himself. I feel like it was really the cast really came well together. I would probably agree with Andreas that Katie Holmes probably was the weak point if we would have to look at the entire cast objectively. Like, yeah, maybe she was the weak point in that cast, because that relationship between the two of them was just it really, like, it gets you the whole movie, and it's such a full circle scene. And Andrew mentioned it himself, the saying, why do we fall, sir? So we could learn to pick ourselves up. Like, and it's so simple, and like the callbacks throughout, everything kind of connects. Like what, like I believe Drew mentioned it earlier, where he said, oh, do I get one of those or something? No, it was also you, Andrew. Yeah, that part. And it literally comes back in the same scene where he winds up having to drive this, and it's real well done. But to me, the Butler scene was like, that really got me in that whole thing, because you expect the fights to be good and everything, and you guys already mentioned it. So for me, it was that scene where they're stuck like in the fire, and the Butler saved him. But the way he told him, he's like, if you can't get a log off you, what's the point of all the sit-ups and all this equipment? I was like, yeah, that's how you get this fool to get his ass up. It's like, I'm 70, for crying out loud. Get your butt up. How much more you need? So yeah, punching out. Back to you, Jeff, in the studio.
I'm the pop culture guy.
Sure. Yeah. Third act. I mean, it's good. You know, it's nothing spectacular or like it's a good, you know, first film is the third act. You know, I think the sequels does better with their third acts. Just Sunday night brought up was the nitpicks. One of my biggest problems with this film is Scarecrow. Like, I really love Scarecrow. He's a great Batman villain, and I kind of feel like they waste his character a little bit in this film. Like, he could have been a great major antagonist for this film. And I get that he's a pawn in the game for Raish, but I think they could have done more with his character. I feel like they didn't use him as well. I think they should, because you know he could be very threatening. Like, we played the arcade games, and like this guy can literally.
That's a drink. You're killing it with the drinks. With the drinks, Andre.
Well, hey, I'm not the only one here, so. So it's not me. It's not me. Anyway, yeah. The games, if everyone understands what I'm saying. So the games, like, they show you how, you know, Dr. Crane could be a very menacing villain for like a film, and I just don't think that this movie does it. Like, because it was so like I'm sorry, like, it was so pitiful when he gets electrocuted by Miss Dawson's Creek. It was like, what? And like, he had a cool costume. Like, it was cool. He was in like that like straight jacket. Like, it was a cool costume, and then you wasted it. I was like, wow. And I don't know. I just come on. My boy Scarecrow can be menacing. I just thought like what they did was okay. And yeah, I agree. You know, the water baby thing is okay. I mean, it's a good start for, you know, that. I just feel like it was convenient. Of all things, this machine was from Wayne Enterprise. That was like the weird thing about it. It was like, oh, this machine is from, you know, the Wayne Tech. Yeah. So that was really funny to see. What was the other one that like it really bugged me? Oh, this is a little nitpick, but like him getting recovered so quickly, and then it was his birthday. That was a weird. Like, we should have maybe like a couple more moments of him before he dressed up as Batman again, before he had to rescue, you know, his friend in the insane asylum before Scarecrow attacks her. So that was weird. Like he came, like we got him being affected by the fear toxin, and then all of a sudden we're jumping back to him again to dressed up as Batman after getting the, you know, the antidote from Fox and all that. So that was a little, like, I get that, you know, we're entering the third act. I think you could have maybe spent a little more, few minutes for Bruce to like recover from the fear toxin, but that's really it. But overall, fantastic finale. I mean, when that reveal Raish happened, I was like, oh, that makes sense. You know, I was like, oh, he's alive. You know, and then looking at it, like he looks like Raish. You know, that was the weird thing. I was like, oh, that makes total sense. Like he has the beard. Like if you see the comics, he's like he has the white beard. Like it was like, oh, that makes sense. He is Raish, you know. Like and it was really cool. And then the twist that him and the League of Shadows, like this was not the first time they attacked Gotham. So I was like, oh, so they attacked him before. And you know, he brought up the economics thing, which was like, oh wow. And you know, he didn't expect that, you know, Bruce's father was the one that gonna help Gotham from, you know, the depression. And then so then coming back here was like even more personal for Bruce to defeat them. And yeah, and you know, going back to that nice about the you know, Bruce Wayne letting Raish die, I feel like that was part of his arc for this movie. Like, I mean, you know, of course, you cannot blame the filmmakers, you know, for making some mistakes. You know, like him letting a lot of the assassins being killed in that like temple in the second act. You know, like that's going to be a movie thing. You have to forget.
I'm fine with Batman killing people in defense. Like,
Yeah,
I think that's okay, but
yeah,
he doesn't want to be the one to chop the head off. You know?
yeah, exactly. And this was the point. Like he was trying to tell Raish that I'm not an executioner, you know, and like he wasn't gonna be, you know, like he wasn't gonna be Joe Chill, you know, like I don't have to kill you, but I don't have to save you. Like he knows, like he will do the necessary to stop a threat. He will kill. And that was, I think, the point of doing that with Raish, because he's not going to kill the Joker in, you know, in the next film, and that like continues the themes here, and that's something that, you know, Man of Steel failed to do. Like, I mean, I don't want to bring up Man of Steel, but like that was something I like.
Don't bring up Man of Steel. Maintain the spectrum of the movie review, please. Batman Begins.
First off, Christopher Nolan produced that, so I'm just saying the example here. This is how you do it, because first off, the death of Rachel School wasn't mean-spirited, and then plus it wasn't like Nolan didn't show you the body, like he didn't like show you like this was cool, or like you know, like
60-minute man returns.
Oh my god, I'm so happy. 60-minute mark. So
stopwatch.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, no. So I think the death of Raish it's going to be important throughout the trilogy for Batman, and that's something that I will applaud Nolan for doing. One day I will say it was kind of sad. I mean, that they couldn't do the supernatural thing with Raish. That's something we have to kind of bring up. That, you know, I don't know, a lot of the viewers know that Raish is a supernatural character, the Lazarus pits and all that. I get that Nolan was trying to be realistic and all that. And, you know, I mean, we didn't see his body, but then at the same time, like, he was very gung-ho about that. So, yeah, I agree with Cyber. It was really sad not to see Raish come back in the sequels and, you know, all that. But overall, fantastic finale. I really enjoy it. Hans Zimmer's score is really great. I really enjoy it. It's definitely one of the best superhero scores. And this last trivia, the guy in the Wayne Tower who like was doing the expedition, he's actually the cousin of Richard Donner, the director of Superman, of Christopher Reeve. And he pops up there in Reeve. So just letting like that old gentleman and the Wayne Tower, that's actually the cousin of director Richard Donner from the Superman and Lethal Weapon films.
Rathakan.
So with this final fight scene, I have to give credit to all of the background characters, like, you know, the civilians, the police, for just adding that whole sense of like chaos with the whole fight scene. Because without them, you wouldn't really get this, you know, sense of like, oh yeah, this is the big fight, you know, like the big superhero fight we're all waiting for. So it's just amazing, you know, seeing the police officers, you know, feeling overwhelmed, being outnumbered, like all those people, all those background people, like they did a great job, you know, so kudos to them. And just seeing like how the police are outnumbered, it goes back to this bigger theme of the city, of how like, you know, you have a lot of corruption, you have like the police like, dealing with so many crimes, but they just don't have enough resources to deal with all of it. And now you have like this big thing happening, and like after seeing everything, one has to wonder, like, does this event inspire change in the city to where it's like, the police have enough resources, they can fight the crooks? Because Batman's like the ultimate equalizer, as we could see with this entire event. Like, police are outnumbered, you have too many bad guys. Batman's like the only thing that makes it equal between the police and the bad guys. And yeah, that's just all I have to say. Everyone else took all the other amazing points, especially Andreas with the trivia. I mean, I love how he always brings trivia to all the live streams. So, dude, round of applause for you, dude.
There you go.
That's all I have to say.
Okay, so oh, that's a drink. Young B gains her name spelled with an R. It's respect. However, she refuses to be with him, promising they can be together when the city that spells with a G no longer needs Batman. Batman becomes a public hero after purchasing a controlling stake in W Enterprises. Young B fires Earl and replaces him with Fox. Sergeant Gordon is promoted to lieutenant, shows Batman the new bat signal, and tells him about a criminal who leaves behind Joker playing cards. Batman promises to look into it and disappears into the night. So, guys, give me your final thoughts on the final portion of the film there. Give me your rating for the film, and then we'll plug out of here and call it a night. I will start with Wrath of Khan.
I did not like the ending of how Rachel accepts... Is Rachel a drinking word?
You just said it twice. That's too
It's so late. It's what time is it? 8:16. Holy cow! Man, that chick! I swear to you, dude. It's like he does so much for her, and she still rejects him in the end. Like, dude, come on. I didn't like that ending that much, especially that part. But at the same time, it's totally understandable because he was friend zoned since the beginning. They acted as best friends. There's no sexual tension, romantic tension, all that stuff. For my rating, I will give it an 8 out of 10.
Okay. Drew.
Okay, so the final scene with him and Rachel, and she just sort of
that's a drink.
Oh God.
Habibi, you just repeated my mistake.
Whoops. Maybe I just wanted a drink. And I took it all
Good
down
one.
with me.
Love it.
It's it comes full circle, sort of like going back to that first scene with them in the garden when they find the arrowhead. It's a one, like, it almost, like, it's weird. Like, today, if this movie was made like in the current era of films, that would be like the ending, and then the whole Joker card revealed would be like the after the credit scene. Like, I guarantee that's what would happen. But this sort of predates the after credit scene. So, but that being said, like, I knew it was like, it's coming, but you still, like, if you're a Batman fan and when as soon as Gordon starts talking about, like, take this guy for instance, it's the Joker. Like, it's like, oh my God! And then when you see the back of the playing card, there it is. Like, this is where it's going to get wild. I do want to bring attention to the fact that it must have been insanely ballsy from like a studio. Like, we talked earlier about how it's a hard gamble just with getting Nolan to do this movie in general, because he wasn't really known at the time, other than like Memento and a few others. But to also not only have Nolan do this at this time, but also not like really have a hallmark villain. Which, villains a lot of times sell movies like this. Like, it must have been really like so much. The studio must have had so much reservation to not want to come out of the gate with the Joker, because this Joker puts bodies in seats, and the fact that they didn't do that is like, I applaud them for this. I almost want to give this movie more points for not doing that and just doing that little tease at the end to like set it up for the Dark Knight. It's the fucking cherry on top. It's a really good movie. That being said, it has flaws. It's hard for me to rate it over like a 7.5 out of 10. But I do really love it, and like I do try to watch this movie at least once, probably every 2 years or so, give or take. I've seen it many times at this point, but it's definitely second place for me. Dark Knight Rises comes out in the third, just because that movie gets a little wonky in places. It almost goes a little too far for me, but yeah.
Andre's pop culture guy.
Yep. I mean, the ending with the Wayne house was really sweet. One thing I really appreciate this film that a lot of us have brought up was the payoff and of certain things, and so this was really great, paying off the father's tool that he used for the hospital was really neat to see that in the flashback. And of course, we get the typical superhero thing of talking I know we cannot be together, Dawson's Creek girl, it's like, this is your mask, this is who you are, the Batman. It's like, I get it, so we needed that. And then after that we got the bat symbol. I was like, yes, we finally got everything right. And then hearing that, it was great to hear Commissioner Gordon being promoted into was a lieutenant, so that was really cool. And then he talks about exhalation, which that's a very important thing to the sequels, that there's going to be more threats Dr. Crane and all that. And the Joker card, oh, when I saw this one, I was a kid, I was like, oh my god, this is gonna happen. When you say, oh, he leaves a calling card, that I was like, oh, that's the Joker. And then when he flips the card, it's like, oh my god, that is so sweet. One of the things I really appreciate this, and something I hate about the superhero films now, is that this movie is self-contained. Because Christopher Nolan has stated before, he never thinks about the sequels. He just thinks about the one movie. And that's one thing that I appreciate about the trilogy, is that it feels self-contained. You can watch it, and there's certain things that he couldn't pick up as a sequel like this. You don't know, he was going to use the Joker in the next film, and yeah, I agree with Knights. I was so happy they used lesser villains. They could easily use the Riddler, the Penguin, the next again, as the main villains. But I appreciate they used Raish and Scarecrow as the main villains, despite I have my problems with how they use Scarecrow, but whatever. But yeah, this is a very personal movie for me. It's the thing that got me really into Batman. And yeah, it's top tier Batman film. It's number 5 for me. And in terms of the Nolan trilogy, I'd say before is second after Dark Knight. But yeah, and my rating for this film it's a 8.5 out of 10.
Andrew.
Didn't you get the memo, Jeff?
No.
Nah, I was gonna say pretend I have glasses. I was like, pretend I have glasses, and I was gonna try to do the little motion that Lucius does, but I chickened out the last second. Going back to what Andres was touching on, well, Andres and Cyber and pretty much everyone at this point has mentioned about the Joker. I love the little soliloquy that Gordon goes into. He's like, oh, we rounded up most of the criminals. There's a few that we kind of missed, but and then he goes towards talking about talk to Joker, and I love the little soliloquy he delivers about how he's like, we carry semi-automatics, they get automatics. We get armor, we get bulletproof vests, they get armor piercing bullets. And he's like, take it. And I take out this guy. It's like, and the talk about escalation, I love, that's a great way to start to introduce that. Now things are just going to start to happen. Kind of reminds me, just to quick segue from in Civil War, when Vision has a similar talk about how our presence invites conflict or kind of thing. I like how Batman, that's it. Anyways, I like how the presence of Batman it's the same thing, right? Because he's there now. There is the criminals. It's not just enough to just be a regular criminal. We're not there yet, but kind of remember how all the villains or all the criminal lords look towards Joker, right? We're not there yet. I know we're not there yet, but kind of the theme of we got to ratchet up, we got to keep up, with the cops and everything like that. So I love that whole the line delivery of that part. I like how he's building up towards the reveal of the card and everything. I love that. The destroyed the whole destroyed mansion and everything, having to rebuild it. I think he builds it really fast. I don't know how much time passes between this movie and The Dark Knight, but I think he has it done already, right? At the start of Dark Knight.
It was still no. In Dark Knight, they addressed it. It's still construction.
Okay,
Still
but
we're building.
okay, then for sure by Dark Knight Rises, he already has it. Okay, he already has it back at that point. So, I'm trying to remember. Is this the one where where they say we never thanked you, or is it you never will, or is that a different one?
Yeah. It's after the Joker card when Gordon say, "I didn't say you thank. I didn't say thank you," and then he
like,
replies before he jumps into the rooftop.
Yeah, and then
you don't have to.
And then because we didn't get to it, no one ever mentioned it so far. I love because if I don't say now, I'm gonna forget the scene where he protects our girl at the subway station or like the little metro. I love the whole like when she shocks him and it does nothing to him. Like that's such a hard scene. He's just sitting there and it's just like the electricity. He's like it's such a cold scene. I love that.
I like her reaction too. She turns around after she thinks she chased him away with her taser, and she sees Batman. She goes ah, and just zaps him.
It's like you better run. Yeah. I love that part, but I mean, everybody's kind of said anything I think worth me saying. And I forgot he's not Commissioner Gordon here yet. I didn't.
No.
I remember now. Yeah, and the next one is when he gets the official title, and then he's like Joker and all that. But I didn't know he had so many ranks. I didn't know I thought he was already at the rank before Commissioner, but like Andre said, this is when he gets promoted, and then he gets promoted again later on. So that's all.
Did Nolan take inspiration from Batman Year One for this movie?
Yes, he does. Yeah, the card like this ending is from Year One, the Joker card, and then the bats attacking the insane asylum, that's from Batman Year One.
Oh, okay.
Cyber.
So the conclusion is decent. Lots of great action. The final climax, we finish it off. We get the promotion of Jim Gordon, like everyone's mentioned. We get the introduction of the Joker cards, suggesting that in the next time that Batman's done, he'll be battling the Joker. And of course, at that time, when you saw that, you kind of speculate. I'm like, who's gonna be the Joker? Who can be the Joker? Not in a million fucking years would I think that Heath Ledger would have played the Joker in the next film. And thinking to myself, I'm like, he's an okay actor. He might pull it off. I'm not 100% sure. And then seeing that performance, woo! Can't wait to talk about it. But anyways, great conclusion to the film. I think it really, finishes off very strong. I think that there's a lot of great dialogue, as everyone has mentioned. It's a really solid ending to a solid film. I give this one a 6 out of 10 for me. Like I said, it's my least favorite of the trilogy, and I think it's definitely worth a solid 6.
Okay, Aston.
Yeah, I just saw Andrew said in the chat it's an 8 out of 10 for him. I got to give him the shout out there, man. I can't leave him on things unsaid. We can't do that out here on the MCU, so I have to do it. Hey, man, it's a team sport out here. It's a team sport out here. We're the Avengers, bro. We got this. So for me, I'm going to have to, it was crazy the way Drew literally like 7.5. That's literally what I was going to give it, because it's hard for me to really go above that because there's some lack of inconsistencies. And I feel they underused certain people. I think Andrew brought up Rutger Hauer. It's very interesting to have such a powerful cast, and to like even Morgan Freeman. Like, yes, he had his moments, but I feel you could have used him a little bit more. That's all I'm saying. You had the tools there, and maybe if there was an extended cut, if they ever did an extended cut or something, if those maybe, then I could have given it more. But it's not my favorite it's my second favorite out of the trilogy. Obviously, everyone's going with Dark Knight, and because it is the best. And to piggyback off Cyber, like seeing that card and then thinking who the Joker was going to be, I don't think anyone on the panel would have thought it was Heath Ledger. And I feel I got to get this on the record. I was one of those guys like, no way, bro, he's not going to do it. And then, everything went down how it did. I went to the theater to see it, and it was Yeah, so this movie set that up perfectly because you don't have that big villain, but I feel origin stories wise, is there a better superhero origin story? Like it's pretty close with Iron Man. You know what I mean? It to me, it's like it's them two because nothing ever came that close. So 7.5, stellar performances. Nolan definitely. I think a lot of people say the Raimi movies changed everything. I think this was really that final, let's say, nail in the coffin where it's like Hollywood's like, okay, we have to start taking this content seriously. It's no longer dudes just chilling in basements. Like everyone knows these IPs from like 13 to 30 to 60. Like, let's do it. Let's take it seriously and make a real movie. Like when I was watching this, I had two over 75-year-olds watching it, like gripped, like, holy hell, this is crazy. This ain't the Batman I know. So it really is. It's a classic, a must watch. 7.5.
All right, and I'm going to give the movie a 7.5 myself. So that wraps us up. We are done with our Batman Begins review. I'm going to go ahead and jump into plugs, and I'm going to start off with Cyberneticshark, if I can ever get my mouse to work. Good job, everybody. Appreciate you. Cyberneticshark, sir.
Okie dokie, guys. If you enjoy me here on the panel or as a moderator, you can check out my solo content. You can find me under Cyberneticshark. Find me on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, X, Patreon. You pretty much find me anywhere. Like I always say, please check out my Patreon. Help the channel out. I got all kinds of extra accoutrement on there you don't get on the channel. Outtakes, bloopers, all that kind of stuff. You get also several perks in those, so definitely check that out. Help a guy out. And as always, a huge shout out to all my new and old followers. Check out my content. I just uploaded this evening Long Legs review finally. And then, of course, my Captain America Brave New World trailer reactions, my most recent trailer reaction. Definitely will be having more stuff up for you guys soon. Be having the Deadpool and Wolverine actual review up soon, along with some other trailer reactions and stuff like that. So keep your eyes out for that good stuff. And if you haven't checked out my shorts recently, I got a couple new shorts up, and check those out as well. As always, thank you for subscribing. Thank you for being a part of the channel. Thank you for watching us on the MCU's Bleeding Edge, and peace out.
Thank you, Cyber. All right. Next, Drew.
Alrighty. Well, you can find me on my channel, The Knights of Nostalgia, on YouTube, is where I produce most of my content, and most of that is going to be game streams, but I'm always down for chatting about movies, nerd culture, etc., etc. We recently produced a whole bunch of Acolyte videos while we were reaction clips and stuff like that. Me and my other a buddy of mine, the Beer Thrillers, we did a whole bunch of stuff with that, but most of my content is going to be live stuff. 3 or 4 times a week, usually Monday to Friday. Start time generally around 7 o'clock or so. Old games, new games, but either way, it's just a very relaxed stream. We just chit chat about a lot of bullshit. But I've got a pretty nice little tight niche community. We're all really chill and looking for more. Need more subscribers and commenters and all that for the monetization, but no rush. It's about the journey, not the destination.
Okay.
Drew, I saw you're a Final Fantasy fan, so I immediately subscribed right now.
Oh,
there you go. Look at that.
I appreciate that.
The plugs are already helping you out, brother.
There you go.
Ashton, no content yet, man. You gotta get that content up, bruh.
Hey, you heard what happened with my debacle. I put in like 2 hours and I turned it off the wrong time. But hopefully tomorrow I'm gonna have like a little 1 hour thing of me revisiting Halo and stuff, like feeling old as hell doing it. But yeah, should have something up tomorrow at Aston Mike Delgado, all one word on YouTube. It'll be my first thing, and I'm trying to also stream. I used to rap, make music and stuff, but under a different name. So I'm probably gonna have that in my updated website probably by next week. So look forward to that. I want to just shout out the MCU Bleeding Edge. Subscribe to them, follow them, and engage with their content. These are some of the coolest guys on the internet right now. So thanks for the opportunity, and I love hanging out with you guys. Shout out.
Thanks, Aston. I'm the pop culture guy.
Yep. Hello, everyone. Just want to thank everyone. It was great to see you, Andrew, Aston. Knights and Raph. It was great to see you guys again. It was really fun podcast for Batman Begins, one of my favorite Batman films. Yeah, so I just recently just posted my top favorite Black Widow movie rank. I mean the Black Widow movie solo film and her appearances of the various MCU films that she was in. Check that out. I just posted a Batman Begins trailer to honor this review today. So I posted that yesterday. This Sunday, don't worry, we're going to continue this great Batman fun week over my channel. So this Sunday, Jeff, and hopefully I need to get some guest stars. We're going to do the 89 film of Batman over my channel for this 30th anniversary because, you know, I'm doing some of like a Tim Burton appreciation because his Beetlejuice 2 is coming very soon in 2 weeks, which is crazy. So I'm going to do that and then do the first film, Beetlejuice, in the next 2 weeks. So yeah, anyway, thank you so much. Please help me reach that 2K mark and let's have a good weekend.
Okay. If I can find the stream again, I'll be good. Where are you guys?
We're over here.
No stress, man.
I have always been.
There we go. All right, excellent. All right, y'all. Listen, heads off to everybody on the panel tonight. We appreciate you. Drew, thanks for coming on. Andrew, thanks for coming on. Aston, Andreas, Wrath, Cyber, appreciate you. I'll be back on the bleeding edge on Monday night with Andre, the pop culture guy, to bang out some more Cape Crusader and watch some trailers. Next Saturday, and the Saturday after that, we're going to be doing some shows, covering some Marvel MCU stuff. And I hope that some of you guys here on the panel will sign up for those shows. Besides that, we appreciate everybody in the comment section tonight. Thank you so much. God bless everybody out there. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Condoms, man. It's repression, man. Just another tool of the establishment just to bring us down. They say we gotta use them, but who are they? Well, they want to control us with their condoms, but not me, man, because I ain't wearing one and letting...
Sheik, use one or get none.
Well, these are cool. I mean, I'd use them. I'd like them, and I'd use